Shalom, today is May 23rd, and it is 230 days since the war in Israel began. The newspaper today is about the footage, the video that the hostage families sent of the 5 soldier girls, the 5 female girls that were kidnapped brutally by Hamas. Here we see Liri and Naama, 2 out of 5. We see here more. Agam, Karina, and Daniela. It reads, Ha'ima, the horror. The fury that turns up, that turns around, stirs the senses. From the first moment that you're watching this video, it's just hard to explain this fury in words. The helplessness, the fright, the horror, the worry, the dripping blood off the faces. Partsufei harova, the evil faces of the terrorists in front of the angelic girls, our angelic girls. You so much want to just hug them and embrace them and whisper that everything will be okay, but you cannot. We've also lost yesterday 3 soldiers in the battles in northern Gaza. The heavy price of the battles in northern Gaza. We'll read more details about that inside. Achshav Rafiach, now Rafah, ve'azma, and then what? And this article is criticizing the fact that the IDF needs to go back to places where they fought already, for instance, the north of northern Gaza, and redo it, clean out the terrorists again, root out the terrorist infrastructure again. There's a hopeless tone here. In this, in the cartoon, we see parents watching the news, watching the 5 soldier girls being kidnapped, while their daughter is walking in happy, saying, hey, I got recruited, Tzav Rishon, meaning the first call for checkups before you get enlisted to the IDF. Kibalti Tzav Rishon, she's happy, and the parents are, well, you can imagine what they're thinking when they see the young girls being kidnapped from what's supposed to be a safe place. It was their military base on Israeli land. And the main story, alone, levadan, mul haroa, alone in front of the evil. We see in Haaretz as well a footage, part of the video that was released by the hostage families in order to pressure the freedom of their girls and all the other hostages. Here we see the girls and the terrorists, the Hamas terrorists, that were actually taking a moment and praying in the middle of the day to their God Allah. Levadan mul haroa, alone in the face of evil. Bloody and frightened until to death, Naama, Liri, Agam, Karina, and Daniela were documented in the body cameras that were on the terrorist bodies. They were handcuffed, they were threatened, they were forcefully led to the military jeep, and they were kidnapped in that jeep to Gaza. The video is metaltel, the video is shaking, and it was published yesterday under the request, per the request of the families of these soldiers, of these hostages that were kidnapped from Nahal Oz military base. And it is just a censored and edited version of the real thing, where you don't see in this video so many bodies that are dead. They're killing some people in front of these, they're killing their friends in front of these girls. You don't see the dead bodies, you don't see horrific violence that caused them to have such bloody faces. That is all edited out, censored out, and still it's a very shaking video. The father of one of these hostage girls is saying, why do I need to publish the hardest moment in my daughter's life so that Israel will do something? So that you can imagine the hostage families are so angry that their girls, or all of their hostages, all of the children are not back in Israel, and they're turning their anger, many of them are turning their anger towards the government. Let's take a closer look at these photographs. Here's Agam and Daniela. They're forcefully walked to the military jeep. This is Liri and Naama. You can see the blood on the face. Here they're being handcuffed. It is Karina and Daniela. And here's Agam, very, very young girls. So these female girls are serving on Israeli ground in a base, yes, near the border, but in Israel, and they were still kidnapped. Their job was letatzpet. Letatzpet literally means to look out, to watch out, and they're sitting in front of screens, there's shifts. That's why some of them were not even in their clothes, in their uniform. They were in pajamas, they were sleeping there during the night, while others were night shift, and then they were going to switch. So it's a close community, a close group of soldiers that are looking at screens, looking at the border. It's a very important job, seeing who's coming through the border, who's not, is everything safe. And they couldn't protect themselves. And following the video yesterday, there have been demonstrations again all throughout Israel, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, in front of the Prime Minister's office, calling to bring the children home. And here they're saying, bring our daughters home. Wake up, tit'oreru. Tachziru kvar et habanot habayta. Bring back our daughters home. We've seen the photograph, one of the demonstrations in Tel Aviv, with so many signs saying the government has let go. The people of Israel will bring the children back. Hostage deal now. I don't know how much energy they still have. I'm turning the page, the heroes that will not return. Gideon Chaidiro, 33 years old, from Tel Aviv. He was a wonderful man, funny, smart, and good. He was a lawyer, and he's actually my brother's soldier. So my brother's a company commander, and he lost a soldier. He said it's one of the hardest things that he's experienced. Eliyahu Chaim Amsalem, 21 years old, from Ra'anana, and he believed that it was his duty to be a fighter in Israel. Israel Yudkin, 22 years old, from Kfar Chabad, and he was a religious officer that you don't see that so often. He was an Orthodox officer, and all of his family was actually fighters in the IDF. That's very, very unique, and may their memory be blessed. Down here, they're giving more details about the fighting in the northern part of the Strip. Shlosha lochamim, 3 soldiers fell in the northern part of the Gaza Strip in 2 different incidents. There's an operation that's happening in Jabalia in the Strip that's taking 9 days already. The IDF is rooting out more and more terrorists, 250 terrorists, and 100 buildings that had ammunition and stored weapons in them. And the very little and narrow roads in this refugee camp, the IDF soldiers are working very, very slowly. One of the officers is quoted here saying, because of the determination and the thorough work of the forces, 4 hostage bodies were found. That means they can bring them back to Israel for a closure and for burial. Now we'll move on to the international news, how Norway, Spain, and Ireland are recognizing a Palestinian state. They're saying the next ones to probably recognize a Palestinian state will be Malta, Slovenia, and Belgium. It reads, the chibuk, the embrace of Europe to the Palestinian Authority. We're speaking about a big part of land in Israel, in Judea and Samaria, where right now it's called the West Bank. 80% of that population was pro-October 7th. These are non-Jews, these are Arabs that are controlled by Fatah. That's another terrorist group that works with Hamas. Hamas controls there indirectly as well. And these countries are thinking that maybe perhaps a 2-state solution will bring peace in Israel. The headline here is that it says chashash, a concern, a domino political effect, where Jerusalem is going to react harshly to this agreement of Europe to a Palestinian state, and they're going to withdraw funds from the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank and Judea and Samaria. And that is not going to go well, according to the article, with the U.S., and the U.S. is not going to like this, and then that's the domino effect, and we'll see what will happen. The foreign minister of Israel, Israel Katz, says, we will not keep silent over the choice of giving Hamas and Iran a prize. Recognizing the Palestinian Authority as a state would be a prize for Hamas and Iran. Here is Foreign Minister Israel Katz. Here is Norway's Prime Minister and Ireland's Prime Minister as well. Israel is pressed from all directions here. For more updates and stories, go to allisrael.com. Follow us on our social media. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends, and keep Israel in your prayers as you're already doing. I know many of you are. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.